Top 10 most shocking WrestleMania match outcomes. We have cracked the top 5. Number 5 welcomes Brock Lesnar to the list. It takes us back not very long. Takes us back last year. WrestleMania 34. And his Universal title defense against Roman Reigns. Not the first time Brock Lesnar has scored a shocking pinfall win inside the Superdome. The sad part of it all is that the first time that Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar met at WrestleMania was WrestleMania 31. It was 3 years before this match. And they had a great match. People were growing sick of Roman Reigns even then. He was already getting booed. But it was just a great, hard-hitting, physical match. And when Seth Rollins ran out to cash in his Money in the Bank, it was just the cherry on top of what was one of the best WrestleMania main events in years up to that point. I say 30 and 31, not just not just even the main events, just WrestleMania 30 and 31 in general, were some of the best WrestleManias in at least a decade. That's how good those shows were. So it wasn't as though these two didn't have good chemistry together. We don't know how they're going to work. We knew they had the ability to go out there and put on a great show. New Orleans never gave them the chance. And I can't say that I blame them. The fans are not at fault for what happened here. Vince McMahon tried with Roman Reigns. He tried and he tried and he tried. And each time the fans just shit all over it. So he would take the title off him after putting it on him, and then he would try again. He was clearly still building to the big coronation, which is so ridiculous to even think about because Roman had already been the champion. Roman was crowned champion at the end of WrestleMania 32. In Dallas, they claimed over 100,000 people. That's what they claimed in the stadium for what should have been the coronation of Roman Reigns, but the fans never took to it. They took the belt off him. This was still building to a coronation for Roman Reigns, and this was going to be it. You know, WrestleMania 33, he had Reigns go over on The Undertaker in a terrible match, although that had more to do with The Undertaker than it did Roman Reigns. Meanwhile, Brock Lesnar beat Bill Goldberg to win the Universal title. And for the next year, Lesnar beat everybody with a single F5. They protected that move like fucking gold in Fort Knox. Goldberg, beaten with one F5. Samoa Joe, beaten with one F5. Braun Strowman, beaten with one F5. AJ Styles, beaten with one F5. Kane, beaten with one F5. If someone poured bleach in both of your eyeballs, you could see where this was going. What this was building to. Roman Reigns won the Elimination Chamber match last year to earn the right to go to the WrestleMania main event and challenge for the Universal title, and so the stage was set. WrestleMania 34, back in New Orleans. New Orleans is the absolute best place to hold WrestleMania. If they could have WrestleMania in New Orleans every year, I would not complain. Easy access to everything by foot. Hurricanes and hand grenades on Bourbon Street. Karaoke at the Cat's Meow. Great food. Just an awesome experience. Can't wait to go back. I was in that crowd, watching everybody on their feet in the final minutes of that tag team match with Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. They hit a home run with that match. And then after that, the show sort of fell off a cliff. There was not a single thing that could come close to that match and the crowd reaction to it. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that people were losing their minds in the closing minutes of that tag team match, especially when Rousey was in there with Triple H and they were working spots together, you know, intergender spots, which is kind of funny now that I hear Triple H at South by Southwest arguing with a fan about, you know, basically hating on intergender wrestling. Why do you need it? It's stupid. It's a gimmick. And yet here he was with Ronda Rousey less than a year ago working spots in a match that got over better than anything else on the entire show. So we get to Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar in the main event. It is a foregone conclusion to most people, myself included, who is winning this match. You could just feel it in the crowd. The attitude was, let's just get this over with. We've been sitting here for 6 hours, 7 hours. We know how this ends. It's not what we want. Let's just get this over with. It's like ripping a Band-Aid off. It won't hurt so much if you just rip it off real quick. Unfortunately, these WrestleMania shows running 6-7 hours, there's nothing quick about WrestleMania these days. So these two guys go out. They had a match very similar to the one they had at WrestleMania 31. Very physical, largely dominated by Brock Lesnar, and the crowd could not find a single fuck to give. Brock hits the F5. Roman kicks out. Nobody cares. Brock hits a second F5. Roman kicks out. Nobody cares. He hits a third F5. Roman kicks out. Nobody cares. Chance of boring. Chance of this is awful. Chance of CM Punk. I saw some people try to start a wave. I don't know. I don't remember if it came across on TV or not. You know, when you lose the crowd during a Raw match and you see them doing the wave and all these chants, you hear it more because it's a smaller building. I've never in my life seen that happen at a WrestleMania before, let alone a WrestleMania main event where the fans just absolutely crap all over the match. Brock lands a fourth F5, this one through the announce table, and the crowd goes mild. Brock hits a fifth F5 in the ring, and Roman kicks out. And again, people are looking for the exits. They know what's coming. They're just delaying the inevitable. Brock takes the gloves off. He busts open Roman hard way, sharp elbows to the head. Now Reigns is bleeding all over the place. They're going the extra mile to get this guy over. It's going to be this great moment when a bloodied Roman Reigns slays the beast and gets to pose with that championship and the blood all over him. It's, well, what a great moment this is going to be, right? That's what Vince McMahon is probably thinking in the back. So Roman somehow hits 2 spears. And still, Brock kicks out. Roman goes for another. Brock hoists him up. F5 number 6. And again, Roman kicked... Oh, wait a minute. The ref counted 3. Just like that. Clean as a sheet. Right in the middle of the ring. Brock Lesnar pins Roman Reigns to retain the Universal Championship. After all of the months and years of building to this moment, all of the men who fell to a single F5 so it would look really impressive when Roman kicks out of them, let alone 5 of them that he kicked out of. Took 6 of them to beat him. All in the name of getting Roman Reigns over, and in the end, Vince McMahon decides, you know what? We're going to have Brock go over. The fans in the building were stunned. I was stunned. A lot of them were happy. Once it kind of sunk in and they realized that Roman lost, they were happy. They weren't so much pissed. And some people were pissed off because there were Roman Reigns fans. There were Roman Reigns fans in my section. I got some great photos of the looks on their faces, man. I want to frame those pictures and put them on my wall. So you had people who were going through a lot of different emotions at the time, but the one emotion that just permeated the building was shock. Shock and awe at what they had just seen. And it really was. It was a very surprising finish to a match where everybody figured they had the finish nailed down. Except that they didn't. And it would be another 5 months before Vince McMahon finally pulled the trigger and put the belt on Roman Reigns. Only for him to have to surrender it 2 months later when his leukemia came back. All that for nothing. There really were no winners here. The choices were an absentee champion who never shows up, or a man the fans resented for being shoved down their throats, and somebody they clearly did not want in the main event of WrestleMania. So they were stuck with 2 people that they hated. It's bad enough having 1, they had 2. And the end result was one of the worst WrestleMania main events of all time. But also one of the most surprising outcomes.